It is such an advantage to have this mortal frame, what we call body. And we all are mortal beings. We all have the immense capacity to know life as it is and beyond. There is no any other creatures, other species than human beings, us, to know life beyond the physical perception of reality. All others have been endowed with instinct-driven life, but we are not. And that's an absolute advantage to being a human. Mortality, as we call it, is the law of nature. But that is not something to be taken so seriously. What is to be taken more seriously is what we do with what we have. And what we have is unimaginable, unfathomable, beyond the description of anything what your mind can think of. The travel, the journey itself is the most sublime. That's why the life of a human being is sacrosanct. This piece of human body that we have is sacrosanct. It is the most sacred temple of the universe, because we are none other than the universe itself. This body represents the universal consciousness in itself. So the journey here is all there is. And what we do within this life, as long as we have this human body, we have nothing but the possibilities. This life as it is has to be taken as the most sublime nature of existence. This human body is nothing but innumerable possibilities of all lives. And if not understood and denigrated, then the option left with it is the denigration towards the lower species. Which life? That life which will be driven by instinct only. That life which will have no choice of its own. So this human mechanism that we have is the gateway towards everything. It cannot be just put down as something which is bridled into chaos, which is rooted in confusion and cynicism and doubt and pessimism. No. The reason why you are where you are right now at this point in time is because this human body needs unleashing of the knotted nature of your own self and the traits that we have developed, which is not ours. If those traits and happenings which have been into existence beyond this body, which have come from many birds and have been passed on to this body, if that is not resolved, then the continuation of this body will further be taken towards different level of corporeal existence. And this continue forever. We have got an opportunity, and this opportunity cannot be passed up. So why things are knotted in this way is the realization of the fact that you need to resolve yourself first, not the things that you are dealing with. The things that appear to be knotted, unresolved, is not a matter of significance. What here is a matter of significance, that you resolve yourself, that you have the opportunity through this human body, which has not been given to anyone else other than the human beings who we are, to resolve ourselves. Because as we resolve ourselves, as we understand ourselves, as we get to know who we actually are, we actually know how closer we are to our own self, which we have always been but never realized it. Because if you realize yourself the one who you are, you would be very amicable to the things that you have been most hostile to. So this life has been given to you to resolve all matters, but the matters are not of any importance. The matters become important because you are rigid not to resolve yourself. As long as you are just confined within the frame of resolute resilience towards not upgrading yourself and follow the same pattern repeatedly in a most soaked, conditioned dispositions of yours, then nothing will change. So what shall be mortal is the very nature of your own belongings and the clingings. And these clingings and belongings that you have developed, unconsciously picked up, and that became the part of you as and part of a DNA, part of the system. If that is resolved, then this life of yours is of a greater significance. That's when you can achieve the greatest height of success without clinging on to it, without making much noise about it. That's when you can impact the entire world without blowing your own trumpet. That's what you could become with this human body, once you only understand why you are here. But as long as these matters and objects are around you, which have consumed your understanding, the very blurred vision of life will always be alluring to the objects of gratification and pleasures. And these pleasures and gratification from the objects are the imprisonment that you have created. The walls of imprisonment have been erected by you unconsciously, which need to be broken off. And that is possible only in this human body. You can only become immortal by letting go of the mortal's mundane existential reality of yours. So do you want to exist just like any other species would exist, just the way they are, because of these things they have been following? You have some traits also that you have been following. Don't you think they have to die one day? And they must die before you. They must die before you. Make sure before this body drops, your dispositions are dropped as well, right in front of you. All the illusions, all that baggage and heaviness of the illusioned patterns conditioned in liking and dislikings have to be dropped right before your eyes. They must die. They have to be mortal ones. They are the mortal ones. Because you are immortal. So once you understand all these, death is of no value, of no importance. Because anyway, you are immortal. Anyway, you are connected to the divine source. You are part of the same weave with which the thread of that has been woven into every layer of this existence that you see life around you or beyond it. And if you are connected to that higher dimension of life, higher zone of life, then death is of no value. You won't fear death. There is no need to have death. It's better to have death every single day, because death is life. Death is actually life. As you make sure these things that are totally superfluous die their own death every single day, that's life. That is life. If you cannot have them dead anyway, this will be like a baggage to us. This human body will be turned to a tragedy. This human body will be catastrophic in nature. Each moment will feel very heavy, and we will not be able to trudge along with this heaviness. The moment we are unsure of death, which do not belong to us, that is life. So death must happen every day. Because the moment that death happens of our own superfluous, unnecessary belongings, a new life occurs. Death is much more important than the life itself, because it is the death which ensures life. So one should not be afraid of death. One should be scared of life. Anyway, you have got life, so what have you done with it? What have you made out of it? That's the question. Not the death. In fact, death has to happen. And death of your own disbelief, death of your own delusional identity, of your own unconscious behavior, your compulsive nature has to die to realize what this human life is. That should be the purpose of life. How many times have you reacted compulsively in the last 2.5, 2 years? Ask this question to yourself. And I'm sure that you are regretful of your act, aren't you? Yes, you are. Don't you think that shall die before this body drops? Yes or no? The behavior that you acted upon or you put on, instigated by some emotional upheavals, maybe some chemical reaction in the body which you cannot take control of anyway, but you just got carried away, swayed away, and behaved compulsively. Did it do any good to you? It destroyed a relationship. What could have been an opportunity to treasure has been turned into tragedy, which ends up in regret. Don't you think these kind of patterns must die before this body drops? So what is important here is the death, not some form of immortality. Immortality will happen on its own once these things that do not belong to us go away, vanish away from us. If they get walking by and do not touch us, we are into our own sublime nature without having to cling on to any of these traits. We have made some sense of this human body. We have made better choices, for sure. But what is not to be understood is emphasized upon so much that the objects, the matters outside of you, consume your understanding, take the very essence of intellect and subdue the very nature which shall flourish and pave the path towards high ascension of life. But unfortunately, something out of us consumes us, make us succumb to their pressure. We find ourselves buckling under the pressure of the objects outside of ours. We become slave to the senses outside by being drawn by the very ostentatious nature of this world. But once we take and withdraw it, once we take our power back, we realize life is way beyond what we know, what life is. So the death will come, and the very fear of death will come only if you do not have the presence of your own self right here. If you deny your presence at this point in time, all the fear will capture you. Death could be one among them. But if this moment is not realized in absolute totality, which is nothing but the expansion of your awareness, then all kinds of fear will capture you, because your mind is just goal-oriented. If you are goal-oriented, then life will be lost. People say, what are you talking about? We all have to be goal-oriented. Bogus. Absolutely no. Don't be goal-oriented. Stupid concept. If you are just having very fanciful thoughts of achieving something in your life, and that fancifulness is very alluring to you, because the very thought of it captivates your heart, captures your imagination, puts you on a different level of fanciful world which does not have arms and a leg, because this present moment where you are right now at this point in time is not matter of any importance. So mind takes you somewhere in the future. There will be some happiness at that point in time, and since it does not find itself where it should be, it takes you to that fanciful world, a world of illusions, deluded by the self, not knowing where to stand, has no grounding, lost in turmoil, lost in chaos, but finding happiness very titillating, very subjective, subjugated by the senses. That happiness is transient, though it gives you kick. So enjoy the kick. How many times will you enjoy the kick? That's the reason why people smoke, drink, do so many things to get a kick. That's not a problem. The problem is somewhere else. If you are just goal-oriented person, You have a very fanciful life. The real people are the process-oriented people. They enjoy the process. The result will be there. The result is the outcome of the process. But if you do not enjoy the process of it, if you're not process-oriented person, then goal-oriented person will be a fallacy. Because process is the change. Change is not easy. Imagination and being drawn by some event of the future that hangs in the balance will always be pleasurable to you, because it always will be in the future, never in this present moment. Because this present moment is something that you would like to avoid. You want to go into the next moment. As you are hearing these words, you want to go to the next moment. What's going to happen now? What's going to happen right away? When this video will get over, I don't want to listen to it. I want to switch to other channels. Listen to something else. Oh, I have been watching these reels one after the other. But stopping nowhere, just going mindlessly. Where? Going where? You cannot answer this question, can you? No, you cannot answer this question because you've just been browsing through, not sticking to anything. Maybe, fine, you are having a break, that's okay, for 2 minutes. But if this 2 minutes turn into 20 minutes, that's catastrophe. Who has consumed you? Your senses have consumed you, or rather duped you. Now, if you live in that scattered life, then anyway, life will be missed. So do you want to realize the life or death? You are alive right now. Do you want to appreciate this thing? Or do you want to think about something which you cannot see? Because something that you cannot see fascinates you. That's right. That's everything. But if you think this life as it is not realized the way it is, everything, whatever you will come to know, is of no importance. What is important is to understand that death of illusions and all the clingings and belongings and cravings and the cravings under which we buckle under, if that do not die, you are dead anyway. What is there in death? What is there in death? There is nothing in there in death. Anyway, if we are just slave of our own traits, then we are dead anyway. We have no option. Which life are you talking about, and which death are you talking about? Don't you think this must die before this body drops? If you just make sure that all of these holding on to the illusions, holding on to these superfluous nature of being drawn by the world, by anything, any objects of pleasure, by anything that scatters us like a broken piece of glass all over the floor. If you find yourself there, anyway, you have no life, you have no peace. Despite your financial condition, whether you could afford things or not, you are scattered anyway. And in today's age and time, everything had been made so available to you and rather affordable to you that being distracted is the most easiest thing to do. Anyone could actually indulge himself, herself into it. There's no big deal about it. What matters here, the greatness of life could be realized by the number of things you can easily do without. So ask this question to yourself. What are the things that I can just drop and live without? Make a list right now. This is the one thing. I can do it, I can do without it easily. All right, fine. What is the second one? What is the third one? So you will see the number of things that you can do without, the more happier you are. The number of things that's ruling your life, the most vulnerable you are, aren't you? That is the tragedy of human life. That's death anyway. What life do you have? Ask yourself, what life do you have? Because you are at the whimsical end of so many objects. You do not have your own calling. But it doesn't mean that you gotta be this or that. It doesn't mean that if you became that, problem will be solved. The position cannot resolve matters. It can resolve matters, of course. But you know what? If someone somehow managed to reach to some level of success without having gone through the process of it and having learned the most mandatory component of it, that place will shake him off and put him on the ground again. That's why going into somewhere near death is not important if this life as it is in this present moment is not captured as it is. So as you capture this life and more, you will see that billions of cells are dying in this body every moment without our realization, because this is how you are renewing yourself. So what you need to realize here is the very structure of the body is death, which is occurring at all times. But are you dying with your own death? With each passing moment of your life as you walk towards understanding yourself? Because you will be walking on your own death if you decide to walk towards understanding yourself. If that is not the matter, then it's okay, fine. Then anyway, life is missed. What there is to know about death? When the life itself, which you have, is not realized, then anyway, life is dead. So just repeating the same pattern over and over again, being sucked into the zones and the holes where there is no any destination, there is nothing out there. It's a repeated pattern that we follow, then anyway there is no life. We are just waiting one day this body will drop down, because the change will happen only after death of this body. Absolutely nonsense idea. No one will turn an angel from a demon after the death of this body. Absolutely no. All the traits will be carried forward again into the next birth. Accordingly, we will take birth under that specific circumstance with a specific setup to carry forward what we have done in this life. No rituals can help. No God can help. Nothing can help. The master, Sadgurudeo Yogee Maharaj, and he says in his Swar Veda, Mrityu apade khatmare, aisa marana sohai, marana jivana swadhinata, tava yogi badpai. So death and birth is not a matter of any significance. But if you are able to see through your death, and that is possible only once you have been dissolved of all karmic substances, all karmic layers, all that has been picked up unconsciously can be undone with this help of this body. And Sadgurudeo Bhagwan, the master himself writes it, Sab sadhan nar deha hai, jnana moksha kar dwar, deva sada phala safal kar jivana janma samhar. And with this body, it is possible. This body is a tool to achieve salvation, to achieve everything. And then he also writes, Mano Shakti ke bahare jagat kaam koi nai, bahar hai so purush ka sarva sakti jahimai. Everything is possible with this human body. So in this body, as long as you live in this frame, as long as you live in this mortal frame, before it drops down, make sure we rise above our own dispositions and dissolve them one by one. Then we will see life as it is seen through the lens of death, because death is nothing but life, and vice versa. So the very fear factor and being gripped by the fear is the only work of the mind which seeks salvation through the appeasement of the senses. If that is the category that one falls into, then there is no life anyway, because you are dead, because you have surrendered yourself to the appeasement of your senses, to the compulsiveness of your pattern, to the trigger that takes the essence of your life, that takes the intellect away from you. If you operate from that level, then anyway, there is no life. There is only death. So, to realize that, we need to transgress time. And this body has a clock. It has an inbuilt clock. It knows its requirement to an intellectual, to a highly professional, or to a mediocre or uneducated, never been to school. And it is governed by the kal, the time, the nature, the prakriti. And prakriti has got all these components so much in sync with one another, so harmoniously that it cannot be tampered with. No one can tamper with it, but human consciousness can transgress it, because we are from there. And if we are able to go beyond that and see through it, then we will have the most peaceful death. We can see through our death. Then birth is also like an act of a yogi. And a yogi can only be entitled if yogi willingly can take birth. If it is not, it is bound to happen with the confinement of Kal and Prakriti, the nature and the time. If that decide the death, if that decide the birth, then that is not the real birth. That is not the real death. The yogis are the ones who go beyond them. They decide the birth and the death. They are the yogi of higher order. The rest are just following some level of patterns, which does require dissolving in this life. So mostly 99.9% of the population of the world do fall under the category where we have received this human body to resolve our own selves. And as we do that, we will know life in a better light.